Peace. I'm Money Green of Money Green Multimedia Group. I'm here to discuss to you today the subject of status correction. The question that is posed a lot is, what is a status? The legal definition of the term status is defined as standing of an entity or issue at law. Once again, the term status means having standing or an issue at law. Basically, that's it. So when one utilizes the term status in relationships to himself, he's basically saying that he has or do not have standing as an entity or as an issue before the law. So standing is the requirement basically that the plaintiff has, and it has to be in place in order for them to say that they have been injured or they will be injured, in order for it to be redressable. This is your standing. Your standing is the ability to be able to sue because of some injury that was done to you, or that its potential, the potential exists for it to be done to you. So this is what the standing is. Standing is closely associated with a status, because a free man's standing, or a creditor, his standing before the law is an issue. Okay? It's an issue before the law. When you're dealing with status corrections, a lot of people believe that the status correction has to do with someone declaring their nationality, or declaring something for the record so that they can fulfill whatever attributes are associated to that name or term. In law, each word represents a term. A term is basically a total description of a particular thing codified into one simple word. The term status, it is usually utilized by individuals who have some type of authority to stand before the court. Because if you have a status that is greater than mine in relationship to our contractual agreement, then your status will allow you to be in the situation the superior and me the inferior. The question of status always must arise before anybody that is challenging you or attempting to get you to submit to their whim or jurisdiction. What is the status that you will claim? The status that you will claim is that of a creditor. Creditor is defined in UCC 1-102A13. And it tells you only simply that creditor includes, and then it tells you a secured creditor, secure party creditor, lien creditor, and it tells you that it includes these things, but they do not define these things to say that these things are creditors too. Fine. A creditor is an individual who finances a suit, an operation. I'm from the street, so if I'm going to credit something, I'm going to take my money, I'm going to get some work, and then I'm going to take this work, and instead of me selling it, I'm just going to let it be the source from which everybody taps into to sell. So as long as they're coming back to this source for sale, I'm the one that is crediting all of their transactions while they're out there in the hustle and bustle. No difference between that and in the street world. So with your status as a creditor, it's very important that I bring these documents into play right now. Your status as a creditor is evidenced here on your birth certificate, as well as on your Social Security card, which I just dropped right here. But the Social Security card is also indicative of a creditor. Yes, I watched the brother, Dr. Phil Valentine, elaborate on some of this, and I guess it was my cue to give you this. This information on the back of your Social Security card is a red number right next to my finger. I don't know if the camera can pick it up good or not. But there's a red number next to the decal. That red number is your treasury account. See, as a creditor, you got to have your money in a treasury, not a bank, a treasury. And as the creditor, you have access to this treasury account by way of this number here that is on the front of your Social Security card. So as a creditor, as an individual that bears this particular card, there are many different statuses and relationships you can have to this card. It's only one relationship to this card where you're going to be able to extract enough ability to discharge whatever debt or whatever issues we're having today. That number on there is a very important number. It's a trade number, and the trade number traces goes always to Dun and Bradstreet. Dun and Bradstreet is basically a stock exchange where through the creation of your birth certificate and your social security account, you have what you have here is called a perfected security according to the laws. These are perfected securities. So when you want to correct your status on the record, you want them to be sure that you correct your status to the effect that whatever you do benefits you and no harm goes to you. Because whatever you say when you open your mouth and you use these terms that I'm going to go over and hopefully decode with you, you'll see that when you use these terms, they work like a cash register and cha-ching. But be careful that these terms must be used in proper context with syntax. Syntax is the way that a grammar or words are structured, so much so to describe an event of things taking place. We would call it sentence structure with the use of the vocabulary. I want to get into why you need to correct your status. Once again, I point to these evidences of debt, and I tell you about UCC 1-201, Section 10. The definition of conspicuous. Conspicuous is defined in the Uniform Commercial Code as some type of writing that ought to be noticeable that something is wrong with it. If there's something wrong with this writing, according to the law in the Uniform Commercial Code, it is classified as conspicuous. UCC 1-201, subsection 10. You have, I'll show you here. I have all capital letter name with the appellation that my mother gave me. It's all waiting for Brian Lamar Green. Do you notice that it is in all capital letters? I'll show you again. It's in all capital letters. You see that? And the reason why it is in all capital letters is because it's there to make the distinction according to UCC 1-20110, which says that conspicuous is something that when you see it, it should alert you that something is basically wrong or off, and it's suspicious. When you're dealing with the straw man, it is a conspicuous character. The straw man is also classified in law as the term person. According to the UCC 1-201, subsection 27, it says that a person is a corporation. It is a juristic entity or an entity, an organization or artificial entity. These are things that are fake. It's just corporations. So when you use the term person, between you and I, we know we're dealing with a natural individual that has flesh and blood, breathing, living, sentient being. But when you're before the land of the dead, that term person, codified in the law, means a corporation. So the status correction is only aimed and geared toward changing your relationship with that particular straw man so that you can make the distinction between that artificial thing and the real thing, which is you. When you go on the record for status correction, the only thing that you want to be bantering around is that you are a creditor. That's it. Only status you care about. Not free and sovereign, indigenous, not none of that. Just say creditor. Because the scale has changed. We'll get into that for you. The term person, which is defined as a corporation or an entity or juristic, which is a fake person, can be traced back to what we know as House Resolution 127. House Resolution 127 is translated into the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment writes, and I'm going to try to quote it off the head. It says, all persons born or naturalized in this country or in the United States shall be citizens of the United States and subject to the laws thereto. Okay? So what that is, and it may be verbatim, but what that's saying is that who all persons, remember the term person, it means an artificial, it means a corporation. Okay? All persons born or naturalized in the United States shall be citizens of the United States. So that means anybody born or made natural in the United States are the citizens and shall be subject or slave to the laws thereof. You can research Supreme Court decisions when they make statements on the 14th Amendment and how in their seat of wisdom they call us dumb as hell because we're going there under the guise of the 14th Amendment. And it tells you that the 14th Amendment, if it was ever been passed, is surely not meant for people. It's only meant for businesses. You can look it up. I don't remember the stare decisis on it. I have so much to go over, but it's there. All you gotta do is just Google it. Just Google it. Okay. It says that the 14th Amendment, if it was ever ratified, is bullshit. Okay. And then you can look up House Resolution 127 and see that it didn't receive the 2/3 vote. But nonetheless, anyway, it's all fake. It's only for the establishment of these corporations where they can funnel out or turn our energy into capital. So they can funnel it out of us and put it into these bonds to give them worth. That's what makes you a creditor, by the way. So when you're going to change and correct your status on the record, some things you need to know have to be in place. First, status corrections, there are multiple different ways and different processes that they can be done, from reaching out to the Secretary of State to getting your birth certificate authenticated, or doing it down on a low level like how I do and just break the municipalities apart one at a time, in which case you just use a public record. Your straw man is an entity that was created for the benefit of you, and it was written into the law for the benefit of you. There's nowhere in a law that says this thing was created to hurt you. There's nowhere in the law that says this thing was created to extract your revenue and leave you in debt. In fact, it says that this thing was created so that it can relieve you of your burden. I want to talk about why you need to be a creditor, why you need to do your status correction, and what a transmitting utility is in relationship between your straw man and you. The transmitting utility is defined under the Uniform Commercial Code as because I don't have it verbatim, I'll tell you what it is. It is a particular highway, if you will, or pipeline, if you will, where energy shoots back and forth, transmits from one end to the other, transmits from one end to the other. So these are called transmitting utilities for a reason, and they were put in place so that they can take our energy, funnel it through that little pipeline into the bond, that they can take my energy and put it there. And now the transmitting utility is the bond, the paperwork, the straw man. So every time the straw man's name, all capital letter name, every time his name is mentioned, it's only in commerce. You only receive those all capital letter name invoices from bill collectors, courtrooms, these people that are in relationship with trading your birth certificate bond around the world. So if you want your status to be correct on the county level, the first step you do is you declare yourself a creditor. How do you declare yourself a creditor? Under the Uniform Commercial Code, a certificate is an evidence of debt. A certificate is an evidence of debt. It is a debt instrument. It is evident that somebody owes you something. So you can keep your bank vault copy of this, and you can keep your secret version of this contract railroad benefit